I think we're good to go. And the Washington County Quorum Court is now called into session. Can we get everybody on mute? Can we get everyone on mute? All right, we're in our June 2020 meeting, June 18. It's been a month. I think it's good to see everybody out there, our citizens who are on, as well as our court. With that, let's go ahead and get started. JP Yanez, will you go ahead and lead us in prayer and play us this evening?
Yes, I'll be praying in Spanish tonight to honor our Latinx community that's being highly affected by the COVID outbreak, but also hold space to our Marshallese community. Dios, abra sus corazones, que tomen las decisiones para ayudar a nuestra comunidad a salir de esto. Ablanda sus corazones, que nuestras plantas locales tomen las decisiones para que pueda parar este brote de COVID. Enséñales el camino y el poder que tienen ellos para tomar esas decisiones que benefician a nuestra comunidad. Habla con ellos a través de sus acciones para tomar esas decisiones. Con todo corazón te lo pido. Amén.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
Under
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
and justice for all.
Thank you, JP Yanez. Tonight we will have Ms. Patty call through the names, go for the rolls, make sure we have a quorum. Ms. Patty.
Susan Cunningham,
Here.
Patrick Deakins,
He was here.
I'll come back to him. Sam Duncan,
Here.
Lisa Ecke,
Here.
Ann Harbison,
Here.
Suki Hires,
Here.
Andrea Jenkins,
Here.
Lance Johnson,
Present.
Willie Lemming. I'll come back to him. Eva Madison,
Here.
Sue Madison,
Here.
Butch Pond,
Here.
Derek Thomas,
I think I got a message from Derek Thomas. He won't be in until a little later this afternoon.
okay, Shawndra Washington,
Here.
Judith Yanez,
Here.
Patrick Deakins,
Here.
he's here, and Willie Lemming. Judge, we have a quorum.
All righty, thank you, Ms. Patty. With that, we'll go ahead and look at to adopt the agenda.
I move adoption of the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt the agenda, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the agenda has been adopted. Thank you. And the preliminary motions.
I move that the ordinances be read by title only.
That's JP Madison made a
Second.
motion that we would go ahead and read motions by ordinances and resolutions by title only. Is there a second?
Second,
And who was that?
Jenkins.
JP Jenkins, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? All right, and that motion passes. So we'll have motions read by title only. All right, citizen comments. At this time, we'll have citizens come and make comments. We have allotted 15 minutes for comments. Each citizen will be given 3 minutes, limited to 3 minutes. When you are called upon to speak, please again state your name and where you live, and then you can go ahead and share your comment. Again, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand. If you're using Zoom, you can use the Zoom controls to raise your hand. If you're calling in to use the phone, press *9 or *9 to raise your hand. With that, public comments.
Judge, we have Mark and Michelle Scogan.
One more time.
Mark and Michelle Scogan.
All right, Mark and Michelle, you guys please go ahead and make your comments. State your name, restate your name and where you live.
Mark and Michelle Scogan. We live in Cane Hill on Hill Mountain Road, and we are calling for the opposition of the wireless communications tower in Morrow. Just wanted to thank everybody that's come out and thank you for listening to us. But again, we're just asking that you guys deny this CUP, and it will injure our property values, and it will impede our enjoyment of our property with the views that we have. And we've proven that there is other places that this tower could go. So we would really appreciate that they would have to find another place to put the towers that does not impede views for any homeowner and just diminish their property value. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scogan. Public comments.
Judge, we have Stan Edelman.
Mr. Stan Edelman, go ahead, restate your name and where you live.
Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, restate your name and where you live, and make your comment.
Stan Edelman, 485 North Monroe Station Drive, Fayetteville, 04. I am, as you know, the Washington County Jail Ombudsman, and I wanted to speak to the justices of the peace about the situation in the jail now that what everybody had long feared and what the jail had done their level best to try to prepare for has happened. I think everyone pretty much assumed it wasn't a matter of if, but when. And again, the preparations as far as isolation and taking temperatures appear to have been the utmost that can be done. With the amount of new cases, it had been 0 until yesterday, to my best knowledge. Now with the outbreak in the jail, and I think outbreak is the right word, it so much ups the ante for not just the detainees, the staff members, their families, and the community at large. I would, if it's feasible under the rules and bylaws of the Quorum Court, I am asking basically for your endorsement of my proposal. I will be coming back to the judges of the Circuit Court, where 3 months ago I asked that every detainee in the jail have their bond reviewed. Now, this would not mean everybody gets out at all, but that the stakes are so much higher now. The ante is so much higher now. I know that the Circuit Court judges themselves individually did quite a bit in the last month or so as far as getting the population down. But again, it is so much more urgent now that anyone who can safely be gotten out of the jail be done so. So what I'm asking for, again, if it's in order, is for the Quorum Court, if there can be a motion and if it can be added to the agenda, to really endorse my proposal, which I will be presenting to Judge Stacy Zimmerman, the administrative judge, for the judges of the Circuit Court to undertake an emergency de novo evaluation of the bond status of all detainees in the jail. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Edelman. Public comments. Public comments.
Judge, we have Ramey Hutchins.
Ramey Hutchins. Go ahead, Ramey Hutchins. Public comments. I'm not getting anything.
We're getting some sound now from Ramey Hutchins.
Let's come back to him, Council. Do we have any other public comments?
Judge, I see no other hands raised at the moment.
Public comments. Mr. Ramey, are you still around, or Miss Ramey and Mr. Hutchins? Huh? He does? Mr. Hutchins. Mr. Hutchins, if you can hear, go ahead and type your comment into the chat. And with that, we're going to go ahead and go to item 6, approval of the minutes.
I move approval of the minutes, and I've read them.
There's a motion to approve the minutes. No correction.
Second.
And a second by who was
Duncan.
JP Duncan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, the minutes have been approved. Is that Mr. Hutchins?
No, that was Willie, I think.
Oh. JP Lemmings, are you saying you approve the minutes?
I think JP Lemming is frozen.
Oh yeah, he sure is. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go to item 7. See if we get to help JP Lemming out. In your report, you should see the disposal county report. There was nothing for the disposal of last month. I do want to pick up a little bit on what we have seen over the past really few days. Literally Monday, all the countywide elected officials and the justices, again, we meet every Monday with the county health director and our emergency services crew to kind of talk about what's going on in the county and what do we need to be doing, et cetera. And interesting enough, I asked the sheriff would he kind of share a little bit about what was happening in Benton County, because Benton County had just hit some positive cases in their detention center. And very surely within 2 days, we started getting our pop hit in the Washington County facilities. Again, there has been increased testing in our region and across the state as a whole. Again, a lot of focus has been on nursing facilities and care facilities, the correctional facilities, as well as detention centers. And again, yesterday, Washington County Detention Center was hit with about 15 confirmed positive cases. And interesting enough, all positive cases were asymptomatic. They were experiencing and showing no symptoms. So the Arkansas Department of Health has been coordinating and working directly with the sheriff and his team. They've sent a regional team of nurses and officials in from the Department of Health to walk through screening and testing of all the detainees as well as the staff at the sheriff's office. And so we should have results in the day or two pretty quickly. I know they've been putting an expedited on all of that. Again, I think it was said that the preparation, and the sheriff has shared it, I've shared it with you, that we have done all we can in the county to get prepared and ready for and anticipation of, and the sheriff has done a phenomenal job of working through that. But at the end, here's where we are, and we did show positive cases there. Even with a reduction in the population, there was still the virus that got in. So we'll continue to monitor that. We'll get those responses, those test results, and then obviously work with the sheriff and respond accordingly. To that note, you guys may be aware the Center for Disease Control came in last Friday, spent time in the central part of Arkansas. Last few days, they were up in Northwest Arkansas. really trying to, again, get their arms around the two communities, in particular, the Marshallese community, Hispanic community. And again, what more can be done? The Northwest Arkansas Joint County Task Force for COVID-19, Judge Mooring and myself and a number of, obviously, superintendents from the two counties, emergency services from the two counties, police and fire from the two counties, businesses from the two counties, nonprofits from the two counties, have been really working over the past few months on how do we work as a region to work through the COVID-19. Last week, we worked on communication. Again, speaking to those, again, critical 4 things, again, wash your hands, use sanitizer, we talked about, again, wearing a facial mask, social distancing, and even if you feel that you've been exposed and all, then go get tested. We had the Marshallese consulate, we had a number of doctors as well as leaders in the Hispanic community also record that public service announcement. So working with the CDC coming in, working with our Arkansas Department of Health and our Washington County Health Department, the county doctors, a lot of work trying to get our arms around what else can be done, what else we need to do. I definitely got to give big kudos to all our caregivers in our medical community. They have been working tirelessly and, in fact, working jointly across the region. In fact, they just started a campaign of Stay Safe, Stay Strong campaign. And again, the joint Northwest Arkansas COVID Task Force will be also joining that. Again, Stay Safe, Stay Strong, along with some of the other work that they've been doing. Our caregivers are just in and above our heroes, and our first responders, as well as our last responders. I spent a lot of time with Roger Morris, probably more time with Roger Morris in the past 3 months than I have all 3 years. And he is working tirelessly around the region, not just here in Washington County. And so again, I salute him and obviously the work of the Sheriff's Office in trying to, again, do and prepare for and now manage through. I can't say enough about what your county elected officials have been working on and doing. So I appreciate their work as well as stepping up and managing and doing all they can to best serve our citizens of the county. Finally, I want to say, again, I appreciate the citizens of Washington County who continue to reach out to you as JPs, reach out to our elected officials, our court justices, our sheriff's department, et cetera, to again pray for and encourage our employees. They're reaching out in all kinds of ways to everyone to again show their support, encourage, because it has been extremely tough trying to manage through all of that. And I appreciate the citizens of Washington County rallying and encouraging the employees as well as your elected officials. With that, again, I encourage you all citizens to again stay safe, stay strong. Let's keep leading Washington County and leading Arkansas. We'll get through, and it's going to be tough. And again, with increased testing, but again, the whole piece of washing your hands, using the sanitizers, wearing your mask, as well as social distancing and getting tested, that's going to be critical. Finally, I have Miss Millie Runkle, who's been a long-termer on our Board of Equalization. She is up, her term expires this year, and so I'm looking to reappoint her to the Board of Equalization. And I need to have entertain a motion to again approve her back to the Board of Equalization Board. Again, she's been many of you guys out there in the county know the Runkles team, and they have been a long time player in our county. So anyway, I'm looking for a motion to reappoint.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by JP Pond and a second from
Sue Madison.
Sue Madison. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, JPs. And Ms. Runkle will be reappointed to our Board of Equalization. We'll move on to item 8 on your agenda.
Mr. Judge? No. May I be recognized?
JP Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Judge. Before we start the business part of our agenda, I would like to ask that you perhaps consider a moment of silence or offer some words of your own in support of the Black Lives Matter movement in our country that's also affecting many, many, many communities right now.
What do you wish to say?
I was asking if you would either call for a moment of silence or if you'd like to make some comments.
Well, I definitely think that we have been preparing for, and I guess I should have said that in our comments, the number of the protests in regard to police brutality. We had that occurring in the region, Northwest Arkansas. And so working with our law enforcement officers, as well as those who are organizing, trying to minimize riots and violence to, again, bring light to the issue of police brutality. And so again, with that, I definitely encourage and support the fact that, yes, all lives do matter, but you have to make sure that when you're talking about Black lives, now you're talking about all Black lives, whether that be those who are aborted, those who are Black on Black crime, as well as those who succumb to those of police brutality. We have a nation who's really trying to have those discussions, and I've been on a number of those with folks around the country, if you will. And so I appreciate you, Sue Madison, being a part of that discussion. And we got to keep doing that, but I think the real reforms will start from the home, obviously, to our policies, to our lawmakers, to our judges, as well as to our law enforcement, as well as our citizens being good partners. So with that, those would be my comments that I would make. And again, I appreciate, again, the fact that we have at least here in Washington County, we've been able to see some really good conversation and collaboration between those who are wanting to raise issue and bring that to the forefront, as well as the work of our law enforcement officers, our sheriff's department. So I'm really pleased with how we have been operating and performing and working together. And that's what's going to be necessary as we start looking through policies and reform, et cetera. With that, item 8, JP Harbison.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
You want on mute?
Do I want on mute? No. Item 8, ordinance ratifying the conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning and Zoning Board of Adjustment, the Morrow Wireless Communication Facility. This is on its final and third reading. I make a motion that we pass this.
Well, let's make sure the council reads that by title only.
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning and Zoning Board of Adjustments for the Morrow Wireless Communications Facility.
And again, this is on its third and final
Okay,
reading.
now I make the motion that we pass this 8.1.
Second.
You have a motion by JP Harbison, a second by JP Pond. Any comments from the court? Any discussion? Any discussion?
JP Madison has her hand raised.
JP Madison?
Talking to
Actually,
Sue?
I actually had my hand raised to make a comment about tomorrow being Juneteenth. If Judge,
She went out.
Eva.
Say it again, Madison, JP Madison.
I had unmuted myself. I don't know how I got.
There you
Did
go.
you
I
hear
hear
any
you.
of that?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I had raised my hand when you were speaking about the Black Lives Matter movement, because I wanted to recognize that tomorrow was Juneteenth. And I think that's really important to mention. The emancipation of slaves is a very important anniversary to commemorate. My law firm has made a decision to close nationwide in observance of Juneteenth. And I wanted to say that lest we think that we in Washington County and Fayetteville are immune to racism issues, I would encourage folks to follow the Black at UARC hashtag on Twitter to see what some of our African-American students are experiencing here in Fayetteville. So I just wanted to say that, but I apologize, Judge, for speaking out of turn. I tried to raise my hand the right way, but I will speak to the motion if you'll let me now. I will be brief.
Yeah, first and second, sure. Discussion, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to vote against this because I went out there and I think that I know Smith Communications has tried to look at other locations, but I think they need to do a better job of being mindful of the very, very rural settings where they are putting these up. And people move out to that part of the county to live in a pasture with cows and horses and have a beautiful view of mountains. And I know many of us have gone out there. It is a stunning part of the county. And to think that these people who built a nice home in a quiet pasture are going to look out on a very large cell tower that is going to be very visible from the road. In fact, I think there's some of the wires that are going to come down in front of someone's like a building. I just think we need to do better when we decide where to place these. I realize they can't be put anywhere, but this is incompatible with the surrounding most rural part of the county. It will interfere with the quiet enjoyment of these individuals' homes, and it will, I think, decrease their property values. I mean, I would not want to buy a house with a gigantic cell tower right in the backyard. So I'll be voting against this. Thank you, Judge.
Any other discussion?
My hand up.
JP Madison?
Thank you, Mr. Judge. I also went out there, and the view from that side of that mountain is nothing short of spectacular. When we moved to Northwest Arkansas, that was my husband's #1 priority, was a home with a view. And if you've ever lived in flatlands, a view of a mountain is inspiring every day. I'm sure that's why many people choose to move to Northwest Arkansas. And the people who live there that have talked to us about this issue value that view every day. And the thought of dealing with a cell tower right in your face, to me, is frankly shocking, and certainly will have an effect on the property values, I think. We can't own hundreds of acres ourselves just for the sake of a view. But we do hope we have compatible neighbors. And for the most part, I think many of the neighbors up there do agree that this will be an eyesore smack in their faces. And I also will be voting against this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, JP Madison. Any other discussion? I see JP Jenkins and then JP Washington.
Thank you, Your Honor. I as well went out and I visited the property owner and the two neighbors that had the complaints on the that sent it into planning. I discussed with the one property owner about across the street from him, there was another property where it's just hunting land. So we arranged with Smith two-way radio, they went out and took the time to go out and talk to that landowner. Unfortunately, the landowner, which would have been fine with these other two neighbors across the street, was wanting more in rent than what Smith two-way had originally contracted with the other landowner. And I say all this because I want to acknowledge the fact that Smith took the time to try to please these neighbors, and we had conversations and they understood their concerns. But the fact of the matter is that that tower needs to go up. It needs to go up now. We need to get it ready for the radio systems. It's a matter of safety, really, for people out there without the who can't call down 911. So for that reason, for the reasons that Smith, they went out of their way to try to help those people and went out and tried to negotiate. It didn't work. To me, it just boils down to a matter of safety. So I will be voting for this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, JP Jenkins. JP Washington, then JP Hires.
Thank you, Judge Wood. Thank you. I would just like to know if it is permissible to read the comments from Ramey Hutchins, who had problems joining us a few moments ago. They did leave their comment in the webinar chat. And while we can see that, those who are watching this via YouTube cannot see the comments. So I wanted to know if it is permissible for me to read their comment.
I'll ask you to read that after we get through this vote. I mean, unless, if that,
it's pertaining,
okay,
yes, it's pertaining to this. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is from Ramey Hutchins. It says, this is Ramey Hutchins at 18894 Hale Mountain Road. We are in opposition of the cell tower. We appreciate everyone for looking at an alternative location. I talked to the landowner of the alternative location, and he told me that Smith Communications said they would give him $400 a month for a 50-year contract, and that is it, since they already had a signed contract. He said he could never sell the place with that on it for a $400 a month contract. The landowner has done very well in real estate and decided it would be a very bad investment on his behalf. Thanks for all of your considerations and effort into this project. And that is the end of the comment.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchins. Thank you, JP Washington. Any other comments from you? JP Washington, are you good? JP Hires, then JP Pine.
Thank you, Judge. I just want to echo JP Madison and JP Madison's comments. I will be voting against this. I know that this is a very important thing that needs to happen. I feel like all of the possibilities were not explored in the beginning. And honestly, I feel like it would be absolutely devastating to buy your dream property and build your dream home to find out that the county zoning laws that you believed in when you bought your home actually do not seem to apply. And for that reason, I will be voting against it.
Thank you, JP Hires. JP Pine.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Judge Wood. One of the comments that was made this evening by others on the panel, and I've heard before, as they've been passed on to me by people out in that neighborhood, about some of the guy wires coming down right in somebody's yard. And what needs to be recognized here, because of other people listening into this conversation, that is the yard of the individual that owns the property and is permitting us to have this communications tower that enhances that person's safety and the safety of many others in that part of Washington County. We cannot overlook the safety of the people in the county for the aesthetics of everyone in a particular neighborhood. Or we've got to, safety has to be first. And this has been a long time coming. I'm ashamed to say that we in the past have turned down towers that would have enhanced communications in that part of the county. And actually, when we did, we were kind of creating a monopoly. There are certain parts of these areas where you have reception with Verizon cell phones, and you do not have with AT&T. And we really don't need that sort of thing happening. Now we need these communications, these for first responders. It's unfortunate that towers are ever turned down, because now at this time, we, Washington County and other counties in the state, are having to spend millions of dollars for communications, radio transmission facilities, relay facilities, and that sort of thing, because we don't have adequate cell towers for the next phase of safety, first responder communication. And I will tell you, it hits home when someone has lost a child on one of those roads out there. They're dead areas. When their child dies in an accident, and we don't know whether that child had one more chance to communicate with their folks before the accident or directly after the accident before they passed away. That is a reality. I'm not talking about we're doing this for the children. I'm talking about this for real happens. We need these emergency responder communications. We need people in those areas to be able to communicate. Thank you. Thank you for being patient with me and allowing me to talk on this a little. Thank you.
Thank you, JP Pine. Any JP Madison? And then
Yes, thank
JP
you.
Harbison.
I wanted to clarify. So when I went out and visited with the Skogans, they said that they had actually spoken to AT&T and that the tower had nothing to do with AT&T. It would not support AT&T users. And I don't know how we can say it's going to be supportive of the radio efforts when we haven't even started collecting the sales tax yet. So my concern is that we are taking what is at its very basis a planning decision and talking about safety, which is not really one of the factors we're supposed to consider. So the fact that we need cell service doesn't have anything to do with whether this is compatible with the neighbors or AT&T is going to use it. But I think we're relying on some misinformation because Mrs. Skogan had talked to AT&T about it. They denied any involvement in this. When I was out there, I had cell coverage. I know it's very spotty and it depends exactly where you're standing. But I think we have to consider the elements of our planning code and not whether somebody needs to make a phone call. But I'm troubled that people are saying this has something to do with the expanded radio service when we haven't even started collecting the money for that. Nothing that Smith Communications is doing with this tower could have anything to do with sales tax money we're not even collecting yet. So I just think that needed to be said in terms of what kind of record we're establishing. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, JP Madison. It was JP Harbison, then JP.
I'm gonna let JP Lemming speak before me because I think he has a better understanding of what's needed out there. And then I'll make a few comments after he speaks. Thank you.
JP Lemming.
Well, what Eva was saying is totally not true. Where this tower started was from FirstNet was in this area a long time ago looking for a tower site. Everybody knows FirstNet is the next system that's going to be up and running for safety. And, you know, the Stogans want to talk about seeing a tower. Yeah, they live in the woods. You can't even see their home. But also you can stand in the middle of that road and to the east and you see towers all over there in Fayetteville, up there toward the airport. There's towers all over. The tower to the south is the one over on Dobbs Mountain. And some guru last week went down there and took the guy wires down and it hit the ground. So all of those Arc Electric lost communications. Some of the fire departments lost communications in Evansville because of some guru tearing our towers down there. And if we didn't have to take another year planning to move this tower, I know a guy that lives a half a mile from there, but there again, it's got to go through planning again. It's got to go through a whole bunch more stuff, and it's going to be a year out to try to get it on board. So therefore, how could we do that? If you could say, okay, we can move it tomorrow and not have to go through planning, not have to do all that, maybe that's a good option. But whenever the radio system in 18 months is being built, we got to have a tower there for AWIN to work. And yes, Verizon ain't going to tell people out tomorrow, hey, we're going to get on that tower because they don't want them to know they don't have service out there already. And AT&T ain't going to say, we're not going to get on that tower because they don't want you to know they don't have service out there. But AT&T started this. You can call John Luther and verify all that information. They started this program, and these people allowed Smith to build a tower on their property at a good rate. And communication is needed out there very bad. Thank you.
Thank you, JP Lemming. JP Harbison.
Thank you, Judge. As JP, sometimes we are asked to make hard decisions. and make the right decision for all people, for the safety of all people in the county. I understand that the tower may not be pleasing to the neighbors where it's going to be put now. And, you know, I'm sorry that I hope it doesn't, I hope it will not be as bad as they say it's going to be. But I think I'm going to be voting for this because I think it's necessary for us to have communications throughout the county for our police, our fire department, and our emergency vehicles. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Public comments? Public comments?
Excuse me, Your Honor. There's a chat from some.
That's the public comments. They can go in. Any public comments? I see 3 participants, Counselor.
Yeah, Judge, I think we had, I've queued up Mark and Michelle Scogan.
Okay, Scogans, again, state your name, where you're from, and then go ahead and share your comment.
Mark and Michelle Scogan. We are 189858 Hale Mountain Road, Cane Hill. I did speak. I am the one that Judge JP Madison was talking about that spoke to AT&T. They have a tower that they've already been approved for on Richard Hale's property in Cane Hill that will affect Morrow. That is why they're not interested. That's why they're not planning at this time to use that tower, because it doesn't ping the right way off of that tower. It's right outside of the, it's just not what they need. They already have their own towers. So Smith Communications is not planning to put FirstNet on it because that is an AT&T tower that's going over on Richard Hale's property. And they are in the process of planning for a tower just on the backside of our mountain as well. Because like I said, I've spoken with them about that. And it's not just about, we know this is needed. We're not denying the fact that this tower is needed to improve cell service, but there is cell service out here. There is more cell service coming. So all of those two-way radios will work better with the towers that are already planned. And the ordinances for these being passed that you guys have, like JP Madison said, it is about the way you allow a conditional use. Number 4, 5, and 6, the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding area, that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. Number 6, that the conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the surrounding areas for the purposes already permitted, not substantially diminish and impair property values within the surrounding area. And we have come to you, even people that are saying, JPs that are saying they're not going to vote, that they're going to vote for this, have agreed that those conditions are not being met. And that's what we're asking for the JPs to do, is to uphold this and approve it based on the allowance for conditional uses. And if you cannot meet those, then deny it. If it takes 18 months to find the next place, Willie said he's got one. In 18 months, he could have this up and ready when you guys are ready to put the two-way radios in. He's admitted he has another place less than a half a mile away that somebody would be willing to put the tower on. Let them do that. If they're not objected to it, then they won't take as long. You won't have to go through 3 readings. But this is definitely, JP Harbison, I wish you would have come out and seen the property, because it is definitely going to kill the Hutchins view from their back porch. They look at a mountain range, and now they're going to look at a 320-foot tower with a 10-foot lightning tower on it. So I wish you would have come and seen it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchins. Any other public comments?
Judge Ty Knott.
Ty Knott, go ahead, state your name and where you live, and make your comment.
Yes, my name is Ty Knott, live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I'm a part of Smith Communications, and I just want to talk a little bit about, I know there's a lot of different opinions on the AT&T part of it, how towers work, et cetera, even some comments about the leasing part of it. I just want to kind of go through a little bit of that. And, you know, to Ms. Jenkins's point, we did go out, visit with the landowner that was interested. When we got out there, we spoke to the gentleman. You know, he basically told us the terms that he had to have to be able to do the project. we were not able to come to an agreement. So, Smith did try to appease everyone. And, I want everyone to understand that Smith also, has been in Fayetteville for years. And this is not something that they, just come into a community and decide, hey, we're going to ruin everyone with you. That's absolutely not the goal of this. What is the goal is when Motorola works with lots of counties on the two-way radio system. Motorola came to Smith Communications and said, we need to build a tower in this location to be able to help the entire part of that county. So our owner, Mike, went out with the engineers from Motorola, took a look. They looked at several different properties, and Motorola decided that this one in particular, this location, would be exactly the way that you need to perform per the engineering, per the radios, to serve the community as it should. That is totally underserved now. Also, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Telecommunications Act of 1996, which President Clinton signed into law. This act specifically was made to improve rural communities and enable them to get AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, all of the carriers to be able to push them towards developing rural communities so everyone could have proper cell phone service and or communities with fiber, internet, etc. So the
30 seconds, Mr. Knott.
Okay, the Telecommunication Act is literally designed for this. This is what this is for. And unfortunately, in the Telecommunication Act, it does not say that a tower can be turned down by a board or a panel for aesthetics only. I appreciate you guys. I know you guys have read over and over in this, and I appreciate your passion, and thank you for letting me speak about it.
Thank you, Mr. Knott. Public comments.
Judge, we got Yanez Smiley.
Go ahead, state your name and where you live, make your comment.
Thank you, Judge. My name is Janelle Smiley. I live in West Fayetteville, Arkansas. The JPs are bound to utilize the criteria set out for them by the zoning. We're bound by law to those criteria. You cannot lawfully make a decision based upon any other criteria, no matter how compelling it may seem. To do so invites an appeal and is in opposition to your oath. The prior gentleman spoke regarding his perception of the quality of the deal and not being able to make a deal with an alternative property owner. That is not really relevant to you. That's not one of those criteria that are set out for you in the ordinances. So I would just encourage everyone to consider those factors, 4, 5, and 6. And even though your heart may tell you something different, you got to ignore it, and you got to go with the brain and make a decision on that basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smiley. Public comments. Public comments. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and Ms. Patty, do the roll.
Eva Madison,
Unmute. No.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes.
Suki Hires,
No.
Sue Madison,
No.
Willie Lemming,
Yes.
Ann Harbison,
Yes. Yes.
Butch Pond,
Yes.
Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Susan Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas, Judith Yanez,
No.
Patrick Deakins,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Shawndra Washington,
No.
Judge, we have 9 votes for and 5 against. This ordinance passes.
Right, the ordinance for the conditional use permit passes. We'll go ahead to item number 9. Ordinance repealing ordinance number 2020-17. Council, read that, and then JP Harbison.
This is an ordinance repealing ordinance number 2020-17.
JP Harbison.
Okay, this particular ordinance needs to be repealed because the 3 items that were in it have been separated out like they should have been to start with. So I make a motion that we repeal 2020-017.
There's a motion to
Judge, just real quick, this is on its first reading. This is not an appropriation ordinance, so it will require 3 readings.
got it. There's a motion. Oh, so then there's no action. We'll just go ahead and move it to next month.
That's correct, unless there is a motion to suspend the rules.
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we suspend the rules and read it on the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules and move to a second reading, a second by JP Pine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Ms. Patty, will you do a roll?
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
I'm trying to make sure what it is. Sorry. Yes. Yes.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Butch Pond,
Yes.
Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Susan Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas, Judith Yanez,
Yes.
Patrick Deakins,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Shawndra Washington.
Yes.
All right,
Motion
move on to the second reading. Council, will you read that again?
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 2020-17.
I make a motion that we suspend the rules and read it on a third and final reading.
Second.
We have a motion to move to a third and final reading, a second by JP Pine. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we'll go ahead and council read that for the third and final time.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 2020-17.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any public comments? Any public comments? Ms. Patty, go ahead and take the roll.
Is there supposed to be a motion to approve it?
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, JP Harbison.
What's that?
Motion to pass.
Yeah, I move to pass.
Second.
We have a motion to pass item 9, a second by JP Pine. Ms. Patty, will you do the roll?
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
Yes.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Butch Pond,
Yes.
Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Susan Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas, Judith Yanez,
Yes.
Patrick Deakins,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Shawndra Washington.
Yes.
This ordinance passes.
All right, ordinance number 9, item number 9 passes. We'll go ahead into item 10. Council, will you read that one by title only?
An ordinance appropriating revenue of $38,389.57 from the general fund to the vehicles line item in the animal shelter budget for 2020.
JP Harbison.
I move that we pass item 10.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by JP Lemming. This one would go ahead and have any discussion. It's only on its first reading.
It's an appropriation ordinance.
Okay, got it. So we need 10 to pass on this one. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any public comments? Any public comments? Ms. Patty, will you do the roll? Oh, we need a pass, right? JP Harbison?
But
I already made a motion to pass.
Okay, and we got the second by JP Pine. Okay, Ms. Patty, will you do the roll?
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
Yes.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Butch Pond,
Yes.
Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas, Judith Yanez,
Yes.
Patrick Deakins,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Shawndra Washington.
Yes.
This ordinance passes.
All right, item 10 passes. Item 11, council, will you read that by title only?
An ordinance appropriating $26,788 from the Animal Shelter Projects Fund to the Vehicles line item in the Animal Shelter Projects budget for 2020.
I
Ms.
move,
JP Harbison?
I move that we pass item 11.
Second.
We have a motion to pass item 11, second by JP Duncan. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any public comments? Any public comments? Ms. Patty, will you do the roll?
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
Yes.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Butch Pond,
Yes.
Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Susan Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas, Judith Yanez,
Yes.
Patrick Deakins,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Shawndra Washington.
Yes.
This ordinance passes.
All right, item 11 passes. Item 12, council, will you read that one by title only?
An ordinance recognizing and appropriating revenue of $20,000 in the Animal Shelter Grant Fund for 2020.
JP Harbison?
I move that we pass 12. Item
Second.
12.
Motion to pass item 12, the ordinance, second by JP Lemming. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
JP Lemming? Okay,
Yes, sir.
second by JP Lemming. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any public comments? Any public comments? Ms. Patty, will you take a roll?
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
Yes.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Butch Pond,
Yes.
Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Susan Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas, Judith Yanez,
Yes.
Patrick Deakins,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Shawndra Washington.
Yes.
This ordinance passes.
All right, item 12 passes. We move on to item 13. Council, will you read that one by title only?
An ordinance recognizing additional revenue of $74,500 in the Rural Community Grant Fund and appropriating $74,500 from the Rural Community Grant Fund to the Evansville Fire Department budget for 2020.
JP Harbison?
I move that we pass item 13.
Second.
You have a motion and a second by JP Lemming. Pass item 13, the ordinance. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any public comments? Any public comments? Ms. Patty, will you take a roll?
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
Yes.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Rich Pond,
Yes.
Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Susan Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas, Judith Yanez,
Yes.
Patrick Deakins,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
and Shawndra Washington.
Yes.
This ordinance passes.
All right, item 13.1 passes. I know it's pretty exciting for the Evansville community out there. They've been working on that one a long while. All right, let's go to committee
Mr. Judge.
reports.
Mr. Judge,
Is that JP Madison?
And then JP Jenkins as well, please.
Are you JP Madison?
Which Madison?
Well, I don't know who said
Sue.
something. I thought I heard something.
Sue tried to.
I have my hand raised too.
JP Eva Madison.
Thank you, Judge. I just wanted to ask, I'm still getting a lot of inquiries about the robot. And I would just appreciate if you could provide the court an update, not tonight, just by email, as to where the ordinance, the appropriating ordinance was for that. I fear that it was long enough ago, I don't remember it. But if you could maybe have Mr. Lester or maybe even John Luther send an email letting us know about the appropriation ordinance for that, I think it would resolve a lot of questions. Thank you, Judge. That's all I have.
Thank you. Committee report. Was it somebody else saying something? JP
Right.
Jenkins? JP Jenkins?
Thank you, Judge. I just wanted to go back to the beginning of our meeting when our ombudsman spoke on behalf of the detainees at the Washington County Detention Center. And he had suggested that there need to be a request of the judges of the Washington Circuit Court to undertake de novo review of all bonds for all detainees in Washington County Detention Center, like pre-trial detainees. What can we do from our point of view tonight, from our standpoint, to help him get this done?
Outside of just visiting with your circuit judges, that's it, unless you guys do a resolution. But again, it's just a suggestion. The circuit judges are the one who makes that particular call. So if I am you, I would probably be visiting with them to ask what their thoughts and what their pleasure is, as well as the prosecutor and the public defender.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Mr. Judge?
That's JP Madison?
Yes.
Madison.
Thank
Yes.
you, Mr. Judge. I wanted to follow up on what JP Jenkins was just saying and maybe ask our county attorney, being respectful of separation of powers kinds of things, if it would be appropriate for this court to maybe pass a motion encouraging our judges to maybe review every detainee as Mr. Edelman suggested. Could I ask our attorney what might be appropriate for us to do at this meeting?
Counsel, I don't know if there's anything more than what I just shared, but
agenda.
definitely jump in and share.
I don't believe so. I mean, not as far as passing a motion. That doesn't really carry any weight, nor is it in order unless your agenda is amended to do so. I think that Professor Edelman's initial suggestion was a resolution, which if a JP wants to draft a resolution to put on next month's agenda, they're certainly welcome to do that and get that to my office for addition.
Okay, thank you.
All right, county committee reports. JP Jenkins.
Muted.
I don't have anything to report. We didn't meet.
JP Johnson, jails.
Yeah,
I
Judge,
skipped up. Go
I
ahead.
don't have anything to report. Either the sheriff's reports were attached to the agenda. Thank you.
JP Pond, personnel.
Thank you, Judge. We did not meet for lack of agenda.
Okay. And then thank you, JP Pond. JP Harbison, finance and budget.
The finance and budget did meet by Zoom, and we heard our three reports. Bobby Hill kind of brought us up to date, said that we would know nothing on finances until June or July. And we passed 6 items on the agenda that came through the Budget and Finance. JP Deakins did ask that we get started on the budget, and I will be visiting with the elected. Their concerns are because things are a little bit different, and I'll have that information at our next meeting. Thank you.
You said there's a little, I missed your last part. You froze on me.
I said that I would be visiting with the elected officials and see how their feelings are, and that I would bring this to Budget and Finance, and then we can make a decision of when we want to start.
Thank you. And speaking of the budget, we should have some numbers late part of next week. And so clearly in the month of July, Bobby Hill, the treasurer, will have some better prognostication, if you will. So if you start the process in July, we should have some better numbers, given that April will be coming in. Again, I just want to circle back and share again, tomorrow is, and I think JP Madison highlighted, tomorrow is Juneteenth. Normally I'll be reading a proclamation somewhere regarding the Emancipation Proclamation and the celebration of Juneteenth. And the remembrance of that, the celebration of that. So I would encourage you guys, if you find some activities around the area, to participate. Lastly, I just want to give a note update. We've probably got through half the testing. The sheriff sent me a note. We're halfway through the testing of the detainees and employees, and we're still holding at 16 detainees that are positive, no employees so far. And so that's all been good. And so I appreciate the update. Again, continue to keep you guys, your family, your friends, check on them, wear your masks, wash your hands, keep your distance. And if you feel that you've been exposed or you need to, go get tested. With that, meeting adjourned.
This raising and lowering hand thing is not working. Mr. Judge, may I make a comment?
No. You're free. The meeting, go ahead.
No, we didn't. Point of order, the meeting wasn't adjourned because nobody moved to adjourn it, and 3 people have had their hands up. JP Hires has had her hand raised since before committee reports, and I raised my hand to try to get
JP Hires, what's your comment?
Thank you. I just wanted to bring up, I've had a lot of constituents inquiring as to when the committees will resume meetings again, particularly jail and law enforcement. There are a lot of people out there who are concerned that that committee has not had a public meeting since before all of this started. And so I'd really like to encourage us to get back to having our regular committee meetings and get back to doing the business of the county.
Thank you, JP Hires. JP, who was the other one?
Sue Madison.
JP Sue Madison.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Judge. And really in line with what JP Hires was just saying. If I think hard enough, I think we passed an ordinance back in January of 19 that required all ordinances to go to committee first. And we've been ignoring that. Now, I can't find it in the county code, which I thought we paid people to keep our code up to date. So I'd like to ask the county attorney to find out what's happening with updating our county code. But more importantly, we passed ordinances in April and in March that had not been heard by any committee. And yet they're supposed to be, I think. I'd like for somebody to research this, and I'm all in favor of resuming committee meetings, but I frankly hope they're by Zoom or great distances between us. Thank you, Mr. Judge.
Who else? I missed? All right, thank you.
Eva.
You guys have a good one.
Eva.
JP Madison.
Yes, I think this body should consider a motion, which is not out of order under Robert's rules. It's a simple motion to endorse Stan Edelman's proposal. I figure that if we wait a full month, that the crisis maybe will be behind us. I know that we have no authority over our circuit judges, but I think an endorsement from this body would carry some weight with them. He has pleaded with us. He emailed us. He came to us today and asked us to do it. And so I make a motion to endorse his recommendation for what it's worth.
Second.
Second.
I believe this motion's out of order, Judge.
Amen.
Please provide me the cite from Robert's Rules of Order that a simple motion cannot be made on an agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
That's.
You don't have to have we make motions all the time that
We
aren't
make
on
motions
agenda.
about the items that are on the agenda. A motion made after his comment would have been in order. That is done. The body has moved on, and
With all due
therefore
respect,
it's not-
Mr. Lester, you're not right on this. We may be muted. Please don't mute me when I have the floor.
I don't believe you have the floor, JP Madison.
I think the judge did recognize and I made a motion.
Comment.
I made a motion. It's been seconded. I think it should be voted on.
JP Jenkins.
I don't have my hand up,
Okay.
but I agree. I agree 100% with.
I agree.
All right, so we'll go ahead. JP Madison made a motion. It's been seconded by who?
Me.
Who was me?
Sue Madison.
JP
I'll
Sue
take her
Madison.
2 seconds.
Miss Patty, will you do a roll?
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes, please.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
No.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Butch Pond,
No.
Lance Johnson,
No.
Susan Cunningham,
No.
Derek Thomas, Judith Yanez,
Are we out of procedure? Do we need to add this to the agenda?
No.
Voting.
I don't believe this is a promotion, not in proper form. It's voting on a motion if made while no question is pending, and so I don't believe it's proper.
Finish the vote. We'll have to.
Point
come
of
up with
order,
a
the
statute
judge has
after.
already called for a vote. He's
JP
already
Yanez,
ruled the motion in
where's your
order
vote?
by allowing a vote.
JP
I'm
Yanez,
not-
what is your vote?
Yes, but I'm not sure if it's proper.
We'll get to the statute and let you guys know. JP Yanez. Go ahead, Miss
Yes.
Patty.
so your vote is yes. Patrick
Yes.
Deakins, I think he's already left the meeting.
The meeting was adjourned.
Lisa Ecke,
No, and I don't even know what the resolution is. So how can we vote on something that we don't even have? And the public doesn't even know what it is.
It wasn't
This
a
is not
resolution.
transparent government. I oppose and I object.
Keep going, Miss Patty.
Sam Duncan, Shawndra Washington,
Abstain.
Meeting was adjourned. You can't reconvene a meeting once it's adjourned.
Can hear you.
so there's 6 for and 5 against, 1 abstain and 3 absences. So I
It's a
guess
simple motion, it passes.
No, it requires a majority. That's not a
No,
majority.
a simple motion passes by.
That's the, Eva, this is not a simple
voting.
motion. That's what I just said. You want me to cite you the Roberts rule? I'll cite it to you. Pull out. your-
Judge, I would ask that you ask
You're
Mr.
wrong.
Lester.
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
You're out of order. You haven't been recognized.
Motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
Judge Woods, we
There's a
have,
motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Miss Patty, what was the final?
we have 6 votes for, 5 against, 1 abstain and 3 absences.
And so that does not pass?
The abstention does not pass.
All right, with that, the meeting is adjourned.
Point of order,
I make a
point of
motion
order,
to
Judge.
adjourn.
We
Thank
can't,
you.
we have to have a motion to adjourn. I'm gonna ask for a ruling.
You don't.
There was a motion and a second. There was a
Point of
motion and a
order.
second.
We have not had there's not been a motion, a second, or a vote to adjourn.
Yes,
The
it
meeting is
was.
not
A
adjourned until
motion
that
and a
happens.
second.
A motion that gets the majority of those voting, which is 6 out of 11, passes.
Nope.
Judge Woods, can I say something?
Yes.
There's a severe issue right now that we have in the jail, but we seem to not be able to get along to solve this issue. And so, yes, we need to pass something, but how can we if we're divided and can't speak on this peacefully? I think those constituents in the jail deserve better, and this is just
the best
terrible.
way to do it is what we talked about earlier, is talking to the circuit judges. There was no ordinance, there was no resolution, there was a motion, the motion failed. And so with that, again, I'm encouraging, if the JP's folks
I
fail,
appeal the ruling of the chair.
JP Madison, I'm speaking. JP Madison, can I finish? I would encourage JP Madison, the JPs, to visit with the circuit judges, express what it is that they want. Remember, they're the one who makes that particular call. JP Lemming and then JP Madison. JP Lemming, you said something. I'm sorry. JP Madison.
I made a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Second.
You don't need a motion to adjourn the meeting, but again, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Meeting adjourned.